No, and even real fluffies. MLP ponies. No fluffies. Too much big talk and smarties and wrong lady. What dummies in here? No, and follow fluffy rules. Horn is too pointed and ring is too big. No fluffy can find melons and be alive. Too smarty to be fluffy. No, and dummy smart bowling fluffies. So no fluffy ran and go away and be dummy fluffy. Real fluffies to be fluffy. If I feed and Tony not be fluffy, not follow rules.
Warning: the following is a work of fiction and not intended for children or other sensitive individuals. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Your Strawberry, a pretty little fluffy mare brought by your mommy, daddy, in a nice warm house. Mommy was your favorite. She gave you yummy sketties for dinner, dressed you in cute outfits, and bought you all the toys you wanted. You even had your own safe room filled with stuffy friends, colorful blocks, climbing ramps and tubes to zoom through with a big, cushy nest bed. There was even a TV just for you. Daddy wasn't as fun as Mommy, but you still loved him lots. He gave the best hugs, took you to the park, and sometimes brought you and Mommy out for ice cream together at the park.
Yummy ice cream for Strawberry.
Every morning, Mommy and Daddy took you to fluffy daycare before work so you could play with your fluffy friends instead of being lonely at home. You thought you were the luckiest fluffy ever until things started changing. The pretty outfits stopped coming. The new toys stopped showing up. Yummy sketties became boring brown kibble. Mommy and Daddy started acting strange too. The house stayed dark more often. Daddy always looked irritated, and one time you even found Mommy crying in the kitchen. They were so tired after work that they barely had time to cuddle you anymore. Then daycare stopped too, and you were forced to spend all day in your safe room. It was okay in the beginning. At first, you tried playing with your old toys, but they got boring fast. It was hard being alone all day with nothing to do except wait for Mommy and Daddy to come home. You complained to Mommy about being lonely, but she just said it was temporary. That meant it would only last a little while. To help you feel better during that little while, Mommy started leaving the TV on in your safe room when they left. She put it on the Fluffy channel so you could watch other Fluffies sing, dance, and play together. It helped at first, but after a while, the shows just made you feel worse. You wanted to play too. Instead, you were stuck all day in your quiet safe room with old toys, boring kibble, and nobody to talk to. One afternoon, while curled up in your nest bed watching TV, a different program came on.
Babies work, mama. Give lots of milky, grow up big and strong.
The bright songs and loud colors disappeared. Soft music played instead as gentle pastel colors filled the screen. A fluffy mama lay in a big cuddle pile with her babies draped across her belly. Some drank milk while others slept against her chest and legs as she softly sang a sleepy mama song to them. The mama looked so warm, so peaceful, so happy. Subtitles bounced along the bottom of the screen while the babies chirped and squeaked around her. Even though the mama was alone, she didn't seem lonely at all, with her babies beside her. You looked around your own safe room. It felt so empty, so quiet. Then you imagined little fluffies running through the tubes, playing with your toys, and cuddling beside you in your nest bed. Little fluffies who would always be there with you to play and sing and dance. Your own babies. As you looked back at the fluffy mama, humming softly to her little ones, you realized you'd finally found the answer to your problems. Later that evening, Mommy and Daddy let you out of your safe room. You immediately rushed over with your brilliant idea. You excitedly babbled about babies and how perfect they would be. Babies would fix your saddies, keep you company, and make the house happy again. You'd never be lonely anymore. And maybe they'd help Mommy and Daddy's saddies too. But then Daddy cut you off with a raised hand.
No, Strawberry. You're not having babies. We're already barely scraping by right now. We can't afford a whole litter.
You froze in disbelief. Then you started protesting loudly, growing more furious as your voice climbed higher and higher. How could Daddy say no? Babies were the perfect answer. Everything would be better if you had babies. But Daddy kept saying no. Eventually, he warned you to stop yelling before he put you in timeout. That only made you angrier. But maybe you could fix this. You turned towards Mommy instead, putting on your biggest watery-eyed pout. Mommy always listened. Mommy always fixed things. For a moment, she looked genuinely sad. But then she shook her head too.
I'm sorry, baby. Daddy's right. We can't afford babies right now.
The words hit harder than the threat of the sorry stick. Mommy said no too. Your chest twisted with hurt and anger. Didn't Mommy care you were lonely? Didn't she want to help you anymore? You erupted into a screeching tantrum, kicking your hooves and flailing wildly across the floor. Daddy kept warning you to calm down, but you ignored him completely. Mommy carefully approached you and tried to pick you up, softly comforting you. Instead, you twisted around and bit her finger. Mommy yelped and jerked her hand back, holding her hand to her chest and turning away. It barely left a mark, but the room instantly went still. Daddy's expression changed immediately. Without another warning, he grabbed you firmly and carried you into the hallway closet, where he pulled out a little leather sari strap and smacked your fluffy flank several times before scolding you harshly. It hurt more emotionally than physically. Your thick fluff softened most of the blows, but the shock of it made your stomach twist. You wailed loudly as Daddy placed you inside the dark closet for timeout. He pointed sternly while continuing to lecture you, but your crying drowned most of it out before he finally shut the door. You screamed and pounded against the door with your front hooves for a long time afterward. Daddy gave you the sorry stick. Mama said no. Nobody cared about your feelings or your perfect answer for them. They were the worst Mommy and Daddy ever. Eventually, your tantrum faded into exhausted hiccups and quiet sobs. Curled up alone in the dark closet, you realized what the real answer to all your problems were.
Stop baby, for me. Stop baby.
Next day after work, Mommy and Daddy took you to the park for ice cream. They tried being extra nice to you the whole time, Mommy cuddling you close while Daddy rubbed your head and told you they loved you. Mommy even tried to feed you the ice cream as usual, but it all felt fake now. You knew they were only trying to make up for being mean yesterday. You ignored the ice cream completely, turned your head away. Mommy looked sad about it, but eventually she set you down in the grass and gently told you to stay nearby while she and Daddy talked. Little did they know, that was exactly when you decided to leave. The moment they looked away, you bolted towards the bushes at the edge of the park and disappeared into the woods beyond. You were finally free.
Dummy Mama and Daddy, Strawberry run away and be happy.
No more mean humans. No more boring safe room. No more dumb rules or sorry sticks. You were going to become a wild fluffy, find a herd, and have your own babies. Then you'd never be lonely again. At first, running away felt exciting. You proudly marched through the woods for hours, imagining all the fluffy friends and babies you would have someday. But once the sun started going down, the forest became a lot less fun. The air got cold, bugs bit at your legs and face. Every little noise in the trees made your ears twitch nervously. Eventually, you squeezed yourself into a small space between a bush and a tree root to sleep for the night. The ground was hard and freezing compared to your warm nest bed back home. You missed your blankets. You missed your stuffed toys. But this was freedom. This was adventure. At least, that's what you kept telling yourself. By morning, your whole body ached, and your stomach growled painfully with hunger. Half asleep, you almost expected to climb out of bed and find breakfast waiting for you like always. Instead, there was only dirt, leaves, and cold morning air. You suddenly realized you had no idea how wild fluffies even found food. Maybe they were like barky monsters who used their noses? When you tried to sniff around, all you smelt was plants and damp wood. After wandering aimlessly for a while, you finally spotted a berry bush growing nearby. Your ears perked up excitedly as you rushed over for the little berry nummies. Then something moved behind the bush, and you nearly turned and dashed away in fright, only for a fluffy to slowly lift his head into view. He looked strange compared to the fluffies you knew. Taller, longer. His fluff was short and rough instead of soft and puffy, and a large pointed horn stuck from his forehead. He was handsome though. His dark coat and long black mane made him look like a living shadow. But he was still just another fluffy, and looked like a very strong one that could protect you from monsters and keep you warm at night. Your fear instantly vanished beneath overwhelming excitement. Finally, you rushed towards him with a huge smile, babbling eagerly about making a herd and having babies as special friends.
Hello, big boy Fluffy. Wanna be strawberry special friend, huh, baby?
The strange stallion agreed to be your special friend surprisingly quick. At first, you were thrilled. You followed him through the woods for days, proudly imagining the happy little family you were going to have together. But once your tummy started growing with babies, things began to change once more. The stallion stopped talking to you as much, stopped cuddling with you, stopped helping you find food. Then one morning, he was simply gone. You searched and searched for him, calling out desperately through the woods, but he never answered back. He abandoned you. Suddenly, being a wild fluffy wasn't fun anymore. You struggled badly on your own. Finding food was hard enough while pregnant, and sleeping outside became miserable once your body grew heavy with babies. Some nights you cried yourself to sleep beneath the bushes, cold and hungry as your baby squirmed inside your belly. Eventually, scared and desperate, you decided to go back home. Mommy and Daddy would help you. They had to. After wandering for what felt like forever, you finally found the park again. Relief flooded through you as you searched frantically for your humans among the people walking nearby. But Mommy and Daddy weren't there. You searched for hours, then days. You even set up a little nest nearby as you waited. But they never came. The horrible realization slowly sank into your chest. Your Mommy and Daddy weren't looking for you anymore. Had they given up? Panic completely overwhelmed you, and you dissolved into a hysterical meltdown beneath a bush near the edge of the park, crying so loudly your body suddenly lurched with pain. The babies were coming. By the end of the bright time, 4 tiny foals lay beside you in the grass, cheeping and chirping against your fluff. You admit you didn't know what to do. You'd never had babies before, but you tried your best. 2 were pretty babies with soft, colorful fluff. One even looked like you. One was an ugly, poopy brown colt, and the last was a big, fat colt, twice the size of the others, with no color at all. That instantly made your stomach twist. Something about him reminded you too much of the stallion who abandoned you. Every time you looked at the white baby, all you could think about was being cold, hungry, and alone. The mean stallion who did this to you, then left you all alone. It didn't help that when he drank milkies, he took all of them and left nothing for your good, pretty babies. You couldn't keep this baby. He was so greedy and selfish, like his daddy. You didn't want him. So while the other baby slept beside you, you quietly picked up the white foal by the scruff and left him hidden deep in some tall grass nearby. Then you returned to your other babies. The brown foal was still ugly, but ugly fluffies could still be useful sometimes. Besides, at least he didn't remind you of him. With nowhere else to go, and no humans coming to save you, you eventually gathered your babies together on your fluff and continued wandering in search of food.
Come on, babies. Mama needs my nannies.
You wandered for a long time with your babies, surviving on whatever food you could find. Sometimes it tasted awful. Sometimes it made your tummy hurt, but your babies needed milkies, so you kept eating anyway. The babies grew quickly, and that meant they needed more milk, more food, more everything. Soon you spent almost all your time searching for something to eat before your babies started crying again, and you grew tired and irritated more easily. And worst of all, your ugly little poopy baby was getting huge. Even though he started as one of the smallest foals, he grew faster than the others until he was almost as big as your old white baby would have been. Every time he drank milkies, it felt like he was taking all of them for himself and leaving barely anything for your pretty babies. It made you furious. How dare such an ugly baby be so greedy after you were nice enough to keep him? Once he was old enough to wobble around and talk properly, you stopped letting him drink milkies altogether. Your pretty babies needed them more anyway. Instead, you put him to work. The little nest cubby you'd made beneath a human house was always getting dirty from poop piles and old food scraps. So you made your poopy baby clean it for you while the pretty babies rested nearby. It only made sense. Ugly fluffies still had uses sometimes. It was what they were good for.
Poopy baby loves feces.
But soon, your pretty babies grew too big for milkies too. They needed real nummies, which meant you had even more mouths to feed. The easiest food to find was the soft grass growing in human yards, so you started sneaking your babies out during quiet parts of the day to eat while the humans were gone. As long as you stayed hidden and careful, it worked well enough. Your babies started growing round and healthy, and all was well. At least for a little while. One evening, after you'd already eaten grassies together, your little blue baby complained that she was still hungry. You told her no, the humans would come back soon, and meanie humans chased fluffies away if they got spotted in the yard. But your baby kept whining. After you told her no again more sternly, she listened, but got more quiet than usual. Later, while you cleaned your good pink baby, the blue foal suddenly announced she needed to make good poopies before wandering off on her own. You barely paid attention at first, but then you heard screaming, a horrible high-pitched squealing rip through the yard, instantly making your heart jump into your throat. You nearly dropped your pink baby as you scrambled from the nest cubby and rushed towards the noise. Out in the grass, an orange meow monster had your little blue baby trapped beneath it. Its front paws pinned her down while its jaws bit into her tiny body. You charged in a blind panic, screeching wildly.
Please, strawberry baby, run!
You kicked and stomped at the meow monster until it finally released your baby and bolted away across the yard in a flash of orange fur. The moment it disappeared, you rushed to your little blue baby. She was twitching wildly in the grass. Tiny, jerking spasms rattled through her body, while dark boo-boo juice soaked into her fluff around several deep puncture wounds. Terrified, you scooped her up and carried her back to the nest cubby as fast as you could. Your pink and poopy baby wailed fearfully nearby while you desperately licked the blue baby's wounds clean, trying to comfort her and make the hurties go away. But after a few moments, the twitching slowly stopped. Your little blue baby went limp in your hooves. Your pink baby nudged at her sister, chirping softly for her to wake up again, but she never did. As the tiny body lay still beside you, reality finally sank in. Your pretty little blue baby had gone forever sleepies. You felt so many saddies that it hurt to breathe. Your chest felt heavy and crushed inside, especially when your other babies tried giving little huggies and kisses to their forever sleepy sister to make her feel better. But it was too late. The three of you cried together for a long time, cuddling the slowly cooling body. Even after things calmed down, you couldn't bring yourself to leave your baby behind. Instead, you tucked her carefully into the nest beside you, as though she were only sleeping. For a little while, it almost felt normal again, but only for a little while. Soon your forever sleepy's baby started smelling bad, then worse. Her tiny body slowly bloated and rotted until the stink became unbearable inside the nest cubby. Eventually, it got so bad that you couldn't take it. Trying not to cry again, you nudged her little body into a far corner beneath the house to keep the smell away from the others. It didn't help much. One afternoon, you heard loud human voices outside.
Oh God, what is that smell?
Smells like it's coming from under the house.
The humans kept talking about something smelling dead beneath the house and coming to check it out. Panic immediately shot through your body. You hurried your remaining babies into the darkest corner of the nest cubby, desperately trying to keep them hidden and quiet. Then a human crawled underneath. A bright flashlight beam swept slowly through the darkness until it suddenly landed on the bloated body of your forever sleepy baby in the corner. The human shouted loudly towards someone outside, and they pushed a leaf stick inside, which the human takes and uses the pointy end to pull your blue baby closer. Then your scared pink baby lets out a frightened little peep. You tried to shush her, but it was too late. The flashlight suddenly swung towards the three of you. You froze in the blinding light, revealing you and your babies huddled together in fear.
Oh, God damn it, there's a whole fluffy nest under here.
The human turned the rake in their hand and started nudging you with the wooden handle, trying to scare you out from beneath the house.
Move, you stubborn little twat.
At first, the pokes were gentle, then they got rougher. You flattened protectively over your babies, trembling fearfully while refusing to move. The human finally lost patience, and with a sharp shove, the rounded end of the handle jabbed hard into your ribs. Pain shot through your side. You yelped, then immediately bolted in a blind panic towards the bright opening leading outside. In your terror, instinct took over completely. You just ran. You didn't stop sprinting until you were far from the yard, gasping for breath beneath a bush nearby. Only then did you realize your babies had followed close behind you. Relief flooded through your chest as you quickly gathered them close, even your little poopy baby. Back at the house, you could see the humans carrying your forever sleepy baby away in a plastic bag. The sight made your heart ache all over again. But your remaining babies are crying and frightened now, pressing against your fluff for comfort. So even through your grief, you forced yourself to keep moving. You needed to find somewhere else to raise your babies, somewhere safe, with lots of nummies. You wandered with your babies for a long time, moving from place to place in search of food. The weather was getting colder now. Grassies were drying up and becoming harder to find, making even your bag of food barely filling anymore. Whatever food you managed to find mostly went to you and your pretty pink baby. You felt a little bad about it, but your poopy baby had plenty of poopies to eat. You did see him nibbling on some other things every now and then. But he was used to eating poopies anyway, so it wouldn't be fair to take food away from your pretty baby. Then one day, while wandering through the woods, you noticed something was wrong with him. Your poopy baby's belly had become strangely swollen, even though the rest of him was getting skinny. His fluff looked thin and patchy, and he struggled more and more just to keep up beside you. Sometimes he coughed, sometimes he stumbled, and lately he seemed tired all the time. The sight made your chest ache. As annoying and ugly as he could be, he was still your baby. You loved all your babies in your own way, and after losing your little blue baby, the thought of another forever sleepies made your stomach twist with fear. You didn't know how to help him. When you got sick before, Mommy and Daddy always took you to the vet, but they weren't here anymore, and you had no idea how to make your baby better. Eventually, you stopped walking, telling your pink baby to stay nearby while you checked on him. Your poopy baby collapsed onto the ground the moment you approached him, breathing in weak little rasps. He suddenly looked so small and fragile, despite being the second biggest of your litter.
Baby, I'm okay?
You asked softly, brushing a dirty hoof through his messy blonde mane.
Baby, I'm tired.
He wheezed weakly.
So hungry.
Your throat tightened painfully. You looked back towards your pink baby waiting nearby, then down at your sick little colt trembling in the dirt, who already knew you'd lost another baby. Blinking back tears, you gently stroked his mane again.
Hey, okay, little baby.
You whispered.
Poopy baby, rest here. Mama and Sissy find nummies and bring them back.
Your poopy baby barely reacted. He simply lay there breathing weakly against the cold ground. For a moment, you almost stayed, but then you forced yourself to stand and walk back towards your pink baby. If you didn't follow through with this, it would break your heart completely.
Come, baby.
You say quietly.
Let's go find nummies.
Together, the two of you slowly disappeared into the bushes. Behind you, a tiny, weak voice called out. You never looked back. The two of you kept wandering through the cold woods together. Every now and then, your pink baby quietly asked when you were going back for Poopy Baby. You never answered. You couldn't. You just kept walking. Eventually, the trees began thinning until the two of you stumbled across a human garden. Your ears perked up hopefully at the sight, but excitement quickly faded once you realized almost everything had already died from the cold weather. Wilted plants drooped across empty garden beds, leaving barely anything edible behind. Then you noticed them, little green pellets scattered across the dirt. Your eyes widened immediately. Kibble! Tiny green kibble nummies. A burst of relief flooded through your chest as you hurried into the garden, excitedly calling your pink baby over. The two of you eagerly lapped up and ate every pellet you could find. The strange kibble tasted bitter and odd, but food was food. It was probably just because of the cold time. It made everything taste weird after all. And finally, after so long, your stomach didn't hurt anymore. Once you'd eaten your fill, you led your pink baby away from the garden and found shelter beneath an old pile of wood near a fence to rest for the evening. You spent your time grooming little pink baby, who basked in the attention you gave her and the warmth of a full belly. At first, everything felt fine, and you settled down to sleep. But then your pink baby started shaking.
Baby, feel funny.
She whimpered weakly. You thought she was cold, so you pulled her closer, trying to warm her with your thick fluff. But her trembling only worsened. Soon she was panting heavily, squirming against you to get away as she complained of being too hot. Even in the cold autumn air, her body felt strangely warm against yours. Fear began twisting in your chest. You tried licking her little green mane smooth and humming softly to comfort her. But after a few moments, your own stomach suddenly cramped painfully. Your breathing grew heavier. Your body felt hot too. The world around you slowly started feeling strange and dizzy as panic crept into your chest. Something was very, very wrong. You felt strange, really strange. Your body hurt and your head felt fuzzy. But the scariest part was not understanding what was happening. Pink baby kept crying and begging you to make the bad hurties stop, but you didn't even know what the hurties were. You tried your best to calm her anyway. Then suddenly, she started convulsing, her little body seizing violently in your hooves, twisting and jerking far worse than the blue baby ever had before she went forever sleepy. The memory hit you instantly. Panic exploded through your chest, the connection. You quickly scooped your baby up, desperately begging her not to leave you too. She was your last baby, but she was so stiff, she barely even moved in your grasp. Green-tinted foam sputtered weakly from her mouth while her tiny legs twitched helplessly. Then, after one final violent spasm, her body suddenly loosened. Her eyes stayed open, bloodshot, empty, staring at nothing. For one horrible moment, you thought maybe the hurries had finally stopped. You tried nudging her awake, but she didn't answer. Your last and bestest baby simply hung limp in your hooves while green foam slowly dripped onto the dirt below. And just like that, she was gone too. A broken sob tore from your throat as you clutched her tiny body against your chest. Everything hurt. This was all supposed to make you happy. You ran away so you could have babies, so you wouldn't be lonely anymore, so you could become a good mommy and have your own fluffy family. But somehow, you still ended up alone and sad. You cried until your chest ached and your breathing grew weak and shaky. Your body felt heavier and heavier against the cold ground beneath you. Strangely, though, it also started feeling warm and peaceful, like drifting off to sleep. Colors slowly began melting together in your blurry vision, shifting and twisting into vague, familiar shapes. You saw two enormous figures standing over you, Mommy and Daddy. Then the colors changed again, becoming a tall, dark shape, disappearing into the woods. The stallion. Again the images shifted. Now there was Mommy, smiling softly down at you, with long orange hair falling around her face, while warm light glowed through the house behind her. You felt safe, small, loved. The final image was the blurriest of all, a warm living room, a couch, Mommy and Daddy sitting together, and there, curled up happily between them, was you, not alone, but with four little foals playing around your hooves, while soft laughter and fluffy chirping filled the room. Blue baby, pink baby, poopy baby, even the little white foal was there too. All warm, all fed, all safe. The image slowly faded into darkness. And then finally, nothing.